Well, it's the season for annual meetings of shareholders, and a few shareholders in a few places are getting a little bit uppity. There have been votes against executive pay at banks and things like that. This one, though, is at Walmart, Agnes, and this isn't about pay. It's not even about the share price. It's about corruption.
Yeah,
right?
It's about corruption and governance, right? I mean, there have been these allegations, and pretty serious allegations, from a New York Times report in April about widespread bribery in their Mexican subsidiary. And again,
well, this was paying people off to get approvals.
Exactly,
new
to
stores
kind of grease the
like
palms to make sure
at least that's the allegation.
Exactly, that's the allegation. But more importantly, the allegation is that there was some kind of cover-up. That there was an investigation, an internal investigation that went nowhere.
Right up at headquarters.
Exactly.
Right.
So this has kind of been aired. The share price took a hit when this first published in the New York Times, and has since recovered. But again, I mean, this is an opportunity. The annual shareholders meeting is next week, and it's an opportunity for minority shareholders anyway to kind of voice.
Right, but there's a question about this, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's going off to Bentonville. That's all the usual thing. But the family owns effectively 50% of this business, has 50% of the vote. So you can't vote out these directors.
Yeah,
right?
and this is the issue, right? Proxy advisory firms have already said that some of these directors should go. But to your point, it's only going to be a protest vote. There's no way you're going to be able to dislodge them. But again, I think we are kind of in the era of protest votes, and so I think, again, shareholders can make their voices heard, and probably
and if you think about the say on pay votes, actually they're not binding, but if there is a big number.
Exactly, it's
the
embarrassing.
Directors tend to do something.
Exactly, and it generates headlines, and and so one of the things they could do is really zero in on the chairman, right? I mean, because again, here we have.
And he's a Walton.
He's a Walton, so you have the symbolism there, but he also is the head of the family that controls the 50% share. So, I mean, that would be one way if they kind of, again, the numbers are going to have to be pretty large though to kind of generate the kind of embarrassing headlines that.
I mean, I imagine they will say, look, we're doing this investigation. Let's wait and see what comes out.
Exactly, and that's been their line, right? I mean, that's been their line. But I think, again, if shareholders are upset, and it definitely seems like, I mean, New York's comptroller came out with some pretty harsh words. California's public pension funds are also voting, against some of these directors. I mean, I think the pressure is on. So if you get a nice, a big chunky number of minority shareholders at this meeting also voting against some of these directors, including, the chairman, I think this could actually, turn up the heat a little bit.
Okay, that meeting's when? On Friday?
On Friday, June 1st.
Okay, we'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll have more from Breaking Views after the holiday next week.